Okay, we're here with Mayor Johnny Ford, the founder, and I say, and others say, the president emeritus of the World Conference of Mayors, an organization that is doing great things in different parts of the world and continue to do it here in the United States and, all the time. Welcome to the airwaves of Palm Beach County. Mayor Ford, how are you today?
Your Excellency, how are you, Mr. International Ambassador? Before I go any further, want to take this opportunity on behalf of our board of directors and our members of mayors and other elected officials from around the globe, mayors who serve in places like Africa, across the great continent of Africa, the Republic of China, Trinidad, South America, mayors from around the globe, to say to you, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You will always have that title because once a mayor, always a mayor. But we want to thank you for accepting the position and the responsibility of being our international ambassador.
Well, I'm humbled to do that.
Let me just finish, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
We believe in the World Conference of Mayors that those who have experience, though they may not be serving presently in a position, that's okay. If they have the experience and determination and most of all the will to continue to serve the people and to be of service, we are delighted and honored to have them active in the World Conference of Mayors. And so thank you, sir, for representing us so well. You recently represented us, headed a delegation for us to China. In the past, you have represented us in South Africa. And I am just so proud to continue to be associated with you because your brother-in-law, the Honorable Marion Barry, and I were prayer partners, to say the least. But I just wanted to get all that out and let the people of this area know how proud we are of you because your work in the church, your work in City Hall, and now your global work is touching the lives of people not only here in this country, but around the globe.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. I'm humbled to be a servant to the International World Conference of Mayors, President, and former mayors and other elected officials as well. I do report to you that I was in the Bahamas in Freeport on yesterday, and we left there with four officials who are excited, and they are now members of the World Conference of Mayors.
Wonderful. We welcome them, and that's a testimony to your work. You've already begun to recruit new members and to spread the word. Wow. Because, the Bahamas, I'm glad you are there, were there. When we were organized in 1984 in Monrovia, Liberia, our first conference where from the airport, Marion Barry, myself, and the mayor of Hartford, Connecticut, the mayor from and other cities from around the globe. We had members back there, mayors like Harold Washington and Tom Bradley and Wilson Good of Philadelphia, Marion Barry, and yours truly and others. When we first went to Monrovia, Liberia, in 1984, the people stood in line for 8 miles welcoming our motorcade, and that was our first meeting. And then our second meeting, 1985, we went to the Bahamas, and at that time, we were hosted by Sir Lyndon Pinling, the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, and they opened up their hearts and their homes to the World Conference of Mayors. And for the first time, many from America came, many white mayors who had not ever been out of the United States and to a foreign country, because this was way back in 1984. They were kind of nervous, but this was their first trip, and they had a wonderful experience in the Bahamas during that second meeting of the World Conference of Mayors. So I'm glad you have reopened the doors to the Bahamas. We're anxious to go back again.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, we'll be on board. I want to ask you, we have an upcoming conference meeting in October. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yes, and I hope that your schedule will allow us to attend, because
I'll be there.
I'm here in Fort Lauderdale for a conference, a 3-day conference, meeting with officials from the Urban League, from the African American Museum here in Fort Lauderdale, as well as the Tourism Bureau, talking about African American culture and history and tourism. You know, so many other people make money off of our history and our culture, but as African Americans, we have not yet begun to effectively tap into that multi-billion-dollar tourism industry. Tourism is the biggest business in Florida, as you know. And so we are here to learn how to better take advantage of tourist dollars for our communities. And I'm so proud to announce that in addition to being our ambassador, you are still our vice president for tourism for the World Conference of Mayors, because that's your background, having been the mayor of historic and beautiful Riviera Beach, Florida, where tourism is so important. You bring a great deal of experience to the whole area of tourism. And so we will convene in Tuskegee, Alabama, historic Tuskegee, Alabama, the home of Tuskegee University, the land of Booker T. Washington and Dr. George Washington Carver. Upon the campus of Tuskegee University, we will convene our first national conference. This one is specifically sponsored by the Historic Black Towns and Settlements Alliance, which is a sister organization to the World Conference of Mayors. And so we'll be dealing with tourism. That's something that benefits the people here in the Riviera, in your area, Riviera Beach, and throughout the Florida area. And we want you to be there as one of our experts and panelists. And particularly, we want you to talk about how religion and the church and the faith community attracts many people to community, because people are interested in church history. The church has been so important in the evolvement of our history as an African American people.
Well, I will definitely be there, Mayor. Don't worry, I will be there. And the opportunity to talk about the church and tourism, I'd love it. Listen, one of the things that I wanted to tell you is that we're just humbled to be a part of this and to continue to put Riviera Beach and Palm Beach County on the map as it relates to tourism and other kinds of things that we're doing. The World Conference of Mayors has a platform, and there's 7 of them. Can you just briefly? I got 5 minutes. Can you briefly tell us what those 5?
Yeah, very quickly. We're proud of our 7 goals. I call them the 7 T's.
That's right.
They are trust, trade, tourism, technology transfer, Twin Cities, treasury, and training. It is important that we trust one another. It is important that we trade with one another. It is important that we share our technology. It is important that we deal with developing money and developing the treasures of our cities. It is important that we establish twin city relationships between the cities of the world. And yes, we must continue to train mayors and other elected officials from around the world.
Wow.
Mr. Ambassador, we will be welcoming some 21 mayors from Senegal who come into the World Conference of Mayors training session in Washington, dealing with governance and coming to learn how to better run their cities.
Wow.
across Africa.
That's
so,
amazing.
yes, sir. Thank you for being a part of it.
Don't hang up. Don't hang up. We still got a few more minutes. Marion Dozier is my assistant here. She actually picked you up the last time you were here and brought you over to the place for dinner. And I would not close this out without Marion sharing with you for a minute. Marion, at the Mr.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, and it was also because of you and the World Conference of Mayors that I was able to go to Africa with the mayor in 2012. So
wow.
I guess I should be also saying thank you to you, sir.
Yes. Well, we've been able to open up the doors to Africa, to China, to Japan, to Trinidad, and places from around the world.
Taiwan as well.
And so, and you were the original founder of the World Conference of Mayors, correct?
Yes, back in 1984. But let me tell you quickly before you go.
No, we're not going. I just want to ask you if you could give the audience a sense of why you created it. What was going on at that time? What was so important that you felt like we needed an organization like this?
Well, first of all, let me just say quickly, I'm proud that in 1982, I decided in February that I was going to run for the presidency of the National Conference of Black Mayors, and I did it where? In Riviera Beach, Florida. I think you had a mayor named Bobby.
That's huge.
Bobby Brooks. Bobby Brooks.
What was his name?
Bobby Brooks.
Bobby Brooks, right, 1982. And so I was elected later that year in Birmingham, Alabama, as president of the National Conference of Black Mayors. Even though I had helped to found that organization, I refused to become president because I was concentrating. I was a new mayor, and I wanted to take care of my town first before I got involved in national events.
Absolutely.
But
actually, it was Michael Brown.
But we went to Africa, and we found out that we could help the African mayors in Gambia, where Ellis Haley had traced his roots. We could help them get money from the USAID and the World Bank and other sources to help improve their villages and improve their living conditions in Africa. And the mayor of that city, Mayor Monday, said, it makes sense. African mayors and African American mayors working together, here's evidence of something tangible we were able to do.
But yet you didn't call it. But yet you didn't call it the World Conference of African.
No, I'm getting there. So he said, here's an example of what we can do. And he said, and I said to him, you know what, Mr. Mayor? It makes sense. African mayors and African American mayors working together. Why don't we organize a World Conference of Mayors? And the mayor said to me, yes, Johnny, and he said it with an English tone, yes, Johnny, it makes sense. Let's do it. And so in 1977, with the idea and the seed was planted for the World Conference of Mayors. He went back to his National Conference of Mayors from across Africa, presented the idea to them. They said yes. I came back to the United States of America and presented it to the National Conference of Black Mayors. We said yes, and both the National Conference of Black Mayors and the Union des Villes Africains, which was our counterpart organization in Africa, those two organizations agreed to become the founding two organizations for the World Conference of Mayors. And so I made the decision that we can build bridges between Africa, build bridges between the Bahamas and Trinidad and South America and China. We had some 40 countries
Mayor, we kind of got to wrap up. We got less than a minute.
So that was the idea of developing the Conférence Mondiale des Maires, the World Conference of Mayors.
And thank you for doing that.
Fantastic.
And last but not least, Marion has the press release on her desk. She's excited about pushing it out, but she's told me several times, tell the mayor, Mayor Ford, to call his web man, I think Drew, and on the membership thing, they still have me listed as Mayor Thomas Masters Riviera Beach, of the mayor of Riviera Beach.
Right.
All you have to do is take the word the mayor from Riviera Beach off and then leave everything else. So she's been telling me she's the one, right, Marion, that's been on my back, So I had to put it. I had to put it out there. Marion has been saying I'm not going to send it out until Mayor Ford corrects the membership thing. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we've just been so busy on other things. Yeah, instead of you're the former mayor, like I'm the former mayor of Tuskegee, Alabama. No problem. But you still wear that title of mayor, but now you have a new one as well as ambassador.
Right. Everything else,
we'll get that corrected. Thank you, sir.
Everything else
is
correct except that one little thing on the membership thing. Everything else is fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Ford. We'll talk to you later.
Okay.
And we're going to go to Studio 2 and keep rolling with Marion Dozier with esteemed guests today.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having on Johnny Ford. He is a well-known person in the political activism in this country. But yes, it is Marion Dozier, and thank you all for tuning in here to South Florida Sunday again today. Wonderful, and I am going to welcome myself back. I have been gone for a couple weeks, but I am here, and I am going to be talking today about a part of West Palm Beach that's known as the historic Northwest. It's located just north of downtown with boundaries of Banyan Boulevard on the south, Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard on the north, Tamarind Avenue on the west end, and Rosemary Avenue on the east. It's not huge, but it is rich with history and culture. And I thought about that, Mr. Mayor, when your guest, Mayor Felder, talked about our history and culture. I thought, this fits perfectly.
You mean Mayor Ford?
What did I say?
You said Mayor Felder. It's in your spirit.
Did I say Felder?
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
You meant to say Mayor Ford.
I did.
No problem.
But the reason why it is so rich in history and culture is because it is one of the first neighborhoods in West Palm Beach, period. But then it also became one of the city's first black neighborhoods. That is, after Pleasant City was born, of course, as the first home to African Americans, many of whom had lived in the sticks on Palm Beach, a community of primarily black workers employed by Henry Flagler to build his railroad and his hotel. Now, push it forward to 2011. The West Palm Beach Community Revitalization Agency and a group of community stakeholders collaborated to create an action plan that focused on redevelopment activities. That work is happening every day thanks to those community stakeholder partnerships with two organizations in particular, the Northwest Community Consortium and the Progressive Northwest Business Association. Both work with the CRA. Both host programs, events, and activities. And we're going to talk about some of those things today because one of those events is going to happen next week, Saturday, the fourth Friday on 4th Street, a monthly outdoor live music event that also highlights local businesses in the neighborhood. Joining us today to talk about the historic Northwest neighborhood in West Palm Beach is Tracy Thomas. Yay! We love Tracy. She's such a hard worker. She's the CEO of Stellar Marketing and Business Solutions, who works primarily with Cityside Suites Business Cafe and, as I said, the Progressive Northwest Neighborhood Association.
Yes.
Tracy Thomas, thanks for joining us today on South Florida Sunday.
Thank you for having me.
Yay!
Get me in.
So, give us the what is the story, the 30-second elevator story about what y'all want to accomplish in the neighborhood, what y'all doing.
Okay, so a 30-second elevator pitch on that note. Community engagement. There's a lot of residents in the community and business owners in the community that need to be engaged and understand of what's going on as far as the development, redevelopment, and activities is going on within the Northwest District. You have Northwood, you have downtown West Palm Beach, but then you have the Northwest District, which is a baby of its own. But it's so wealthy with history. A lot of people are missing that fact. Yep. So we have these type of events where we highlight the history. So the community engagement is the building awareness of the historical markers that are coming down the line. A lot of the businesses that the community and residents may not have known about. This is a platform where we'll have that information there and the exhibits that are there and the community that has come out. Now, this is a fourth series. This is a 4-series event.
That's the fourth Friday on 4th Street event.
Right.
Yeah.
So
which
Friday
y'all
on
have
4th
every
Street. Yes, we've had it every month.
third,
April, May,
third
June.
Saturday. Yeah.
Right. Every 4th Friday we've done this. And this event is going to be the last of that event series until next year. But at the same time, this is going to be the actual grand finale in a sense, and it's perfect to do this 4th Friday on 4th Street, where we always have live entertainment. You know, that's one thing, but we always have had a theme tied to that.
Yeah, and see, that too, that was what was so interesting too. And I think this theme this time is the Backyard Business Boost.
Yes.
Now, what is that? What does that mean?
So our Backyard Business Boost is going to allow Northwest businesses as well as surrounding businesses to be able to use this platform as a platform they can showcase their products and their services.
Because I didn't even know there were that many businesses in that
there's,
area.
There's a handful.
Yeah.
There's a handful. But with me working with Cityside Suite, Smart Office, and Business Cafe, there are gems in that place.
Which I didn't know.
Period.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have tenants, you have virtual tenants, and when I tell you there's some of the most amazing nonprofit organizations and some of the most amazing businesses, and this type of event is going to allow this to be a platform for them to be able to be a vendor and to share their services and products.
So why was that important to y'all? Because you could have just had, a nice live music, event out there, and people probably would have been satisfied with that.
Right.
But y'all are also wanting to highlight something.
The businesses.
Why was that important?
Which is so important. I mean, having festivals and parties and all of that as well. But we have a business class that's over in that district, a business class of people that have been there for some time, and we're looking to solicit more people to want to start their businesses in the Northwest District, because at one time that was a thriving community, as you know.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to get that back. We're trying to get that back and using an event series and community engaged events, period, that bring these type of people out, the businesses and the communities. It helps. It helps with building the awareness of what's going on. You understand and see what's being redeveloped in the area, because we make it that way. We want the CRA to play a huge role with this, because they're the ones that are hosting as well as co-hosting with us, but sponsoring. But they're the ones that's actually letting us know where we at with the Sunset Lounge. When is it coming out of the ground? If it has, what is it going to look like? What is that district going to look like? Opportunities for businesses to be able to get into storefronts.
To get
what
back
do we need to do to get ready for that?
Yeah.
So these type of events and the community engagement is
and
helping.
The awareness.
Yeah. So business class. Progressive Northwest Business Association is a group of local businesses within the Northwest that's formed, and we're newly forming these members. Now, I work as the marketing arm for this association because, on the PR and the community engagement and the marketing is a must with anything. So I've been assisting.
And people think that social media makes it easier. It actually makes it harder.
It does.
People's eyes are just everywhere.
It does. So that's where grassroots is everything when it comes to this type of platform. So membership is being built with the Progressive Northwest Business Association. We have training, we have workshops. This is the stuff that we're looking at rolling out. But the 4th Friday on 4th Street is a platform where it's still a party. It's still an outdoor party, but we network and we mean business.
And I think I heard, too, that y'all did some kind of historic tour of that neighborhood.
Yes, there was a historic tour that was the week before last, and that was ran through the CRA. Alicia Nguyen, she was a lead on that.
She is a local anthropologist, Dr. Alicia Nguyen.
And unfortunately, she was unable to join us today, but she was going to be joining us on this interview, and she's super amazing.
Right, and she's connecting to the business and the fun stuff, the history part.
Exactly, and making sure that it is staying in place and that
we all know.
Right. So, for example, historical markers is being placed throughout the community. It's her responsibility, and she's been tasked to lead that, and she's been doing an amazing job with that.
Her.
So even at this Backyard Business Boost, we're going to talk about the vendors and the people that are there, but then we're also going to have some historical sound bites that she's going to speak on through video, and she's highlighting people like
Who, for example?
James Cracker Johnson, who was a very wealthy millionaire,
who was a
real estate.
Yeah,
and
very
first
light-skinned black guy. Yeah, and nobody really knew he was black, apparently.
Right. Our Stucky
but
Chicken
he
Box.
knew he was black.
Right,
and
exactly.
he was very, he really took care of his community.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
and
he lived
even helping the city of West Palm Beach get out of their debt.
Really?
Remember?
Did I know about that?
No, we got to talk.
Okay.
We gotta talk. There's some history.
Okay.
But this is the type of history a lot of people don't know about. But this platform allows them to learn it. Because if they don't know it, right.
Or if they know it, to share it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because you made a point earlier about, all the businesses that had once been located down there.
Right.
Because I remember growing up here 100 years ago. I mean, there used to be, there were restaurants. There was a pharmacy down there. There was a movie theater down there. All of that on Rosemary Avenue.
Grocery stores.
Now,
Stucky Chicken Box is another.
I remember. Yeah,
market we're going to be having placed up. Carl Robinson was the owner of grocery stores, up to 4 grocery stores in the Northwest District.
I think he had one on 14th and Tamron. Yeah,
we got to keep this type of stuff alive.
I agree.
And this is history that's not taught in school. So that's why we do what we do.
And now you mentioned the Sunset. And many of you, I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, have probably remember the Sunset Lounge.
Well, my age, right? Just go ahead and say it, Mary. It's not going to hurt my feelings at all.
But I just learned that I knew that the city of West Palm had bought it, but I didn't know they had paid $2.5 million for it. What's the plan for what are they going to do with it? Because it's closed now.
Right now it is under construction and redevelopment.
But they're going to leave the core of the building there. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. And eventually, after they're done, it's supposed to be a jazz district and a tourist attraction for the jazz district. They have high-end culinary restaurants that they're seeking to place in there. I don't know the details, but my thing is having these type of events and having these individuals that are in place that can give us these answers. And when we have and then when we have like the Progressive Northwest Business Association, networks and events and interest meetings. That's the purpose of. We need answers. We need to know what's up next. What's the plan here? Oh, so these are going to be businesses and storefronts. Well, what do I need to do as far as readiness?
Right.
And we have resources within the association. Whether you need capital, whether you need your business credit straightened, and resources, whether you need trademark, it's all there, right?
Yeah, and I think what we have to keep in mind is that this area that you're talking about is just north of the City Place area. So if you drive straight up Rosemary, or rather, I guess straight down, if you could, you run right into City Place.
Exactly.
So there is some concern from some people in the community that that's the plan, is to essentially bring City Place north up Rosemary. Have you?
Yes.
You hear that a lot?
Yeah, no, I do. I do. And
but what's your sense of?
My sense of, as far as the community and who we are as the community right now, is so important that we form these networks and these groups and alliances and memberships to make sure that we can hold each other and others accountable of what goes on.
Yep.
You understand what I mean?
Or as Representative Al Jaquette says, either you're at the table or you're on the menu.
Absolutely.
And he got that from Ike, and he got it from somebody else. And so everybody's on the table. We do have a minute to wrap up, so you may want to get. Yes. But I do want to say about one thing about this event. It is so healthy to have the monthly events for the community, because West Palm Beach has one, and every month downtown, Riviera Beach had the Family and Friends Day, and Lake Park has one. It's good to have that engagement. So further information. It's wrap up time.
Exactly. Actually, the actual website that you can go to learn more about this event is at backyardbusinessboost.eventbrite.com. That's backyardbusinessboost.eventbrite.com. You'll learn everything that you need to know about this event. And right now, we are soliciting for sponsors and those that are interested in showcasing your business.
Yes.
Make sure to fill out that application. If you have any questions, you can contact me directly. My number is 561-329-9705.
And my number is 561 something. All right, we got to go. Marion, you got last word? You got
I thank you for coming, Tracy Thomas of Stellar Marketing and Business Solutions down there at City Side Suites. So I think I'm going to come down there because y'all are going to have Memory Lane performing down there. Okay.
Memory Lane.
And it's a free concert.
Yes.
You know, it's open to everyone.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's next week Saturday.
It's next week Saturday, the 23rd, from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. We are going to have a blast.
Okay.
Yes.
And as we always say, I can't find where the mouse cuts us off at, but I'll just go ahead and say it. And the best is yet to come.